Good afternoon. We are live. Jeremiah Conjure here from Annuity Association, tuning in once again for another unbiased annuity review. Today, I'm really excited. We're going to be reviewing a recently launched product by Nationwide. This product just launched last week, which was on Monday, I believe it was March 8th. Yeah, March 8th. So Nationwide launched a new fixed indexed annuity, which really, in all honesty, it's just a revamp of their current existing fixed indexed annuity known as the Nationwide New Heights fixed indexed annuity. But the revamped product, is the Nationwide New Heights Select. So very, very excited to get this information out to you. I really believe that Nationwide has really added some unique features to just improve what has been already the #1 selling fixed indexed annuity with a lifetime income rider over the last couple years. They've taken that same product and just made it even better. And I really believe that it's going to be one that's going to appeal to a pretty wide audience, people looking for retirement income, guaranteed lifetime retirement income, but also looking for strong accumulation opportunities. So without further ado, we're going to be discussing the Nationwide New Heights Select fixed indexed annuity. And before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and dive into our handy dandy disclaimer, get that fun stuff out of the way, and then we'll dive into the product brochure. So bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. And if you need to enlarge your viewing window, you can do so by clicking the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Okay, so again, reviewing Nationwide New Heights Select. Now this product comes in 4 different contract term lengths, the 8-year, 9-year, 10-year, and 12-year. Those differences are going to vary by state. So depending on where you live, you may have all 4 options, you may have 3 of the 4 options, or you may only have 2 of those options, depending on the individual state. All the products are created equal, except for the fact that on the 8-year and 10-year versions, there's a 2-year crediting period versus a 3-year crediting period found on the 9 and 12-year. In addition, rule of thumb in fixed indexed annuities is that the longer you commit to, typically the higher growth opportunity will be had or available because of increased participation rates and things of that nature offered in those individual index crediting strategies. So this is a review, not a recommendation to buy or sell an annuity. Nationwide has not endorsed this review in any way, nor do we receive any compensation for this review. This review is meant to be an independent review at the request of website visitors so they can see our perspective when breaking down the positives and negatives of this particular annuity. Before purchasing any investment product, be sure to do your own due diligence and consult a properly licensed professional should you have specific questions as they relate to your individual circumstances. All names, marks, and materials used for this review are property of their respective owners and not that of annuityassociation.com. While care has been made to ensure this review is complete and accurate, no guarantees are made to the completeness or accuracy. So again, I always like to start our reviews with really the premise behind, why we're doing these and putting these together for you, the end consumer. And it's really to bring more transparency to the fixed indexed annuity marketplace. I like to put myself in other people's shoes. And I know that as a consumer with any product that I look at buying, I like to make educated decisions and do my own due diligence when it comes to research and understanding the mechanics and of, how the product works and things like that. So that's no different in the indexed annuity space. When I first got into this business and was looking to help people that are planning for retirement, I really wanted to make sure that when it came down to the indexed annuities or income annuities or whatever the type of annuity it was at the time, I wanted to make sure that I had the ability to do my own due diligence to research the benefits and features and rates to truly make the best recommendation to my prospective clients. And so we've taken that a step further, and now with the ability to utilize a software that houses all of the indexed annuities available on the marketplace, we're able to do side-by-side comparisons and really compare apples to apples to ensure that our recommendations are sound and the right thing for the client, and that we're truly shopping the best products available for that individual circumstance. So the purpose of these reviews is to help you understand the products inside and out and help you ultimately make an educated decision on whether or not this is one that you should consider for retirement. So before we get started in the review, if you'd like to work with me directly, you can visit our website by going to www.annuityassociation.com. Right there on the main webpage, you can fill out the request for a free report. Click the green button to hit submit, and you'll be taken to a opt-in form where it'll ask you some questions related to your individual situation. And on there, it'll also ask if you'd like to speak with an advisor or like to be contacted. Just answer yes, and I will reach out to you in a timely fashion. So grateful for the opportunity, grateful to be able to share this valuable information to you. And I hope that you're able to pull some nuggets out of it to be able to make a decision on whether or not this is something you should consider. So without further ado, let me go ahead and dive into the product brochure. So again, let me share my screen. You can enlarge your window by clicking the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and you should be able to see a little bit better there. So we're looking at the Nationwide New Heights Select Fixed Indexed Annuity, and this is a product that can help you grow and protect your retirement savings. So it's all about feeling confident in retirement. Whether you're approaching retirement or already retired, today's combination of low interest rates, the potential for additional market downturns, and rising retirement costs may have you looking for ways to help maintain your lifestyle in retirement. It's important to look for solutions designed to help grow and protect your retirement savings, while also providing a source of guaranteed income you can't outlive. Fortunately, there is a potential solution. And it's about adding certainty to your retirement portfolio. Introducing the Nationwide New Heights Select, it's a fixed indexed annuity designed to provide growth opportunities and protect your retirement savings from negative markets. As a solution to today's unique retirement challenges, New Heights Select can help provide growth opportunities by allowing your contract to increase in value based on the positive performance of one or more of the underlying index strategies. You also get a contractual guarantee of 100% principal protection. Your principal and any credited earnings are 100% protected from negative index performance. So you can never lose anything in regards to your initial investment. And then lifetime income and legacy. You can elect to add only one of two optional guaranteed income riders or one of two optional enhanced death benefit riders. We'll be diving into those momentarily and breaking those down. In addition, in this review, we're going to be discussing the features and benefits, and then also diving into our comparison software to take a look at the specific index strategies so that we can see the growth component of this particular annuity to see how it's compared over the last 10 and 15-year period. So we run a hypothetical back testing process that'll take us through two different periods of time, a 10-year period and a 15-year period. And throughout that process, we'll be able to identify what the average annualized rate of return potentially could have been if we own that contract during that time frame, as well as being able to take a look at the highest and lowest best 10-year performing period so that we can really see how it performs in its worst case scenario and its best case scenario. So stay tuned, stick around. You won't want to miss that. It's going to be very, very helpful. So what is a fixed indexed annuity? A fixed indexed annuity is a contract you buy from an insurance company to help you potentially accumulate assets for retirement. It offers returns based on the changes in an index, such as the S&P 500 Composite Price Index. Regardless of index performance, indexed annuity contract values will not be impacted by negative index returns. Please keep in mind, a fixed indexed annuity is not a stock market investment and does not directly participate in any stock or equity investment. A fixed indexed annuity may be appropriate for those individuals who want the opportunity to capture upside potential while having a level of protection from market downturns. Lifetime income may be provided through the purchase of an optional rider for an additional cost or through annuitization at no additional cost. Withdrawals taken from age 59 and a half may incur a 10% early withdrawal federal tax penalty in addition to ordinary income taxes. Withdrawals may trigger surrender charges reduce your death benefit and contract value, and may also reduce any guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefits. So if you have qualified dollars, maybe in a 401k or IRA, you can roll some of those dollars into a fixed indexed annuity and still have that same tax preferential treatment and tax status, qualified tax status. But just keep in mind all of the, federal tax laws apply. So if you are under the age of 59 and a half and you were to withdraw some money from the annuity at that time, or before 59 and a half, then you would incur the same penalty as if you were to take that withdrawal from your 401k or IRA. So let's talk about the opportunity to enhance your growth opportunity. New Heights Select offers a growth opportunity with strategy options that track the performance of an index and lock in earnings at the end of each strategy term. Strategy options also guarantee your contract value will never go down due to the negative performance of an index. Additional benefits include the ability to track values daily. So this is one of the unique features found in the New Heights Select and all of the fixed indexed annuities offered by Nationwide, is that they have a way to be able to allow the investor or contract holder a portal that you can log into daily and see how the index is performing, and they call that your daily accumulation value. Now, it's just a tracking mechanism. It doesn't give you the ability to, really do anything but track that data so that you can understand where your contract and how the performance is at that present time. Now, there is a unique feature that we're just going to get to here momentarily, where you can utilize that information from the daily accumulation value tracking to help you in a very unique way. I'm going to read that here just in just a moment. So the daily accumulation value allows you to see how your strategy options are doing on any given day. And here's that feature. It's to lock in your positive performance. So this is brand new to this particular product. The previous version of the New Heights did not offer this feature. So this is one of those enhanced options that they've added to really make this product stand out above and beyond some of the competition out there. So the lock-in in your positive performance, your earnings are automatically locked in at the end of each strategy term and cannot be lost due to any potential future negative index performance. If at any point in your strategy term you are satisfied with the returns of your strategy options, you have the opportunity to lock in the index value of each strategy option once per term. So let me explain. So let's say you're in a 3-year point-to-point crediting strategy, and you're using one of the various index options in this particular product, and we're going through that 3-year period of time. And let's say a year and a half in, the market's been doing really well. Your index strategy has been doing really well. You're able to track and log in to see what the daily accumulation value is at that present time. And if for whatever reason you just like that, that it's where it is at that present time, maybe you're just pleased with that growth, you're satisfied with the growth, and you're happy with where it is. Or maybe you have a gut feeling that the market's maybe trending downward after that point, and from there on. So maybe you want to lock it in and say, I'm happy with this amount of interest that I can get credited to my contract for this period of time. You can elect to do a one-time lock-in to secure that gain in the contract for that crediting period. Now, you will forego any of the future gains if it did outperform that locked-in point. But you're also protecting yourself if from that lock-in point, it goes downward for the rest of the crediting period as well. So there is a little trade-off there, but some people like the flexibility and the optionality to be able to lock in a high mark during a crediting period. And I think it's a very great opportunity for people to be able to, secure gains once they've, actually accrued them without risking them losing them moving forward. So the other benefit is to capture earnings on withdrawals. Another unique feature of the New Heights Select is that you will receive earnings to date on withdrawals for retirement expenses, or if you need to take required minimum distributions. So another very unique feature that's been added to the contract. At any given point in time, your contract value may be allocated to up to 5 different strategy options, providing the opportunity to diversify among a number of domestic and global index options. At the end of each strategy term, which is the number of years used to measure strategy earnings, you have the ability to elect new strategy options. For more information on how your earnings are calculated, see page 12, and for information on the indices available, see the Index and Strategies Guide. So what they're saying there is that you have the ability to diversify within the annuity. There's several different index strategies that are offered. You can allocate a portion of your investment across the several different options, up to 5 different options in total. And in addition to that, once you elect to have those dollars allocated to those specific index crediting strategies, you're not locked into that permanently for the rest of the duration of contract. Every anniversary period, so if you're in a 3-year point-to-point, every 3 years you can elect to move your monies from one index strategy to the next one if you feel that the other one may be giving you a better growth opportunity moving forward. So you have that flexibility to do that after each crediting period, which is very nice. Okay, so let's talk about the lock-in positive performance in a little bit more depth here. So the retirement savings you allocate to New Heights Select and any credited earnings are protected from market downturns, offering a sense of confidence through changing markets. New Heights Select strategy options do not limit the amount of index performance used to calculate earnings. The growth below shows how values are tracked daily and locked in at the end of each strategy term or once per term through an optional lock-in. So here they're going to show us an example of a graph and showing us the lock-in mechanism being implemented in the strategy. So if you look here, we're going to see this graph, and the gray is the actual underlying index performance, and then the green is the daily accumulation value tracking that index. And so if you notice through the different terms, the strategy terms at the bottom, you'll notice little lock symbols along that green line. And this is showing the various points where locks were implemented in those different strategy terms. And one thing that stands out to me the most on this is the specific lock on the between the first term and the second term. So it'd be the second lock where my mouse is hovering, if you can see that. That second lock, you'll see that they were at a really peak time on that index. And the strategy, the lock-in strategy, was implemented. And you'll notice very shortly after that, before the second year term, it started to trend downward. So that was a smart lock. And you'll see that second lock where it starts, and then that green line just goes flat across all of those dips in the market. That's showing the ability of locking in at a high point and being able to benefit while the rest of the index went down. So it's very, very key. I think it's an incredible option for retirees to be able to have more control over their index growth. At the end of the day, we don't have control over the markets, but this lock-in feature almost gives us a feeling like, hey, we can lock it in if we have a feeling that we might be at the highest point for that particular crediting period. So very, very cool option. So I'm going to read a couple of these boxes here. It says the lockout losses due to negative index performance each strategy term. You're automatically locking in growth at the end of the strategy term. And then you can choose to lock in the index value and protect from potential index declines before the end of the strategy term. So again, very unique feature. Really excited to be able to give our clients the flexibility and optionality to lock in a high point if they so wish. Now, in addition to the unique crediting strategies that are offered in the new version of this New Heights Select fixed indexed annuity, we also have a very strong guaranteed income rider option as well. So like the previous version of the New Heights fixed indexed annuity, the Select version also has the nationwide high point 365 Select lifetime income rider with bonus. There's two different options on the rider for lifetime income, one with a bonus and one without. We'll be covering both of those in detail. And we'll be covering the bonus one first. So it's the one of the two optional living benefit riders available for an additional charge should you wish to create a source of guaranteed income. This rider features a predictable source of retirement income through the minimum income benefit value, which is guaranteed to grow every day so long as you follow the terms of the rider and contract. High Point 365 Select with bonus features a guaranteed 110% bonus to your initial purchase payment. So at contract issue, an additional 10% of your purchase payment or initial investment will be added to your minimum income benefit value. So if you put in $100,000, day one, they'll credit you a total of $110,000 towards your income benefit value. Okay, the income benefit value is the figure used to calculate the guaranteed lifetime income portion. So great bonus offer there, very competitive in today's market, and a huge value here because you're not only getting a very sound growth opportunity, but very, very competitive on the income as well. And that's what Nationwide was shooting for by the design of this product. So in addition to the 10% bonus, we also will receive a guaranteed 7% compounded annual growth rate for up to 10 years. Your minimum income benefit value will continue to grow daily at a 7% compound annual rate until the earlier of 10 years or until you begin lifetime income withdrawals. So it's really, really important to understand the mechanism and the intended purpose of the income rider in addition to the regular, growth accumulation opportunity in this fixed indexed annuity. So the way that I look at it is you're putting a CYA, a cover your behind with this income rider. So for example, if you have a 10-year window where you're approaching retirement and you're really thinking about needing income and you like the idea of a guaranteed income stream that you can't outlive, by adding this income rider to the contract, you're going to benefit with peace of mind, knowing that regardless of how the index performs and how the markets perform moving forward, because again, none of us have that crystal ball to know what's really going to occur. If they don't perform like we hope they do, well, we've been backing up our investment with this guaranteed income that's growing at a 7% compounded annual growth rate on the income benefit value. Now, keep in mind, the income benefit value account or amount is not withdrawable as a lump sum. So it's only used to figure and determine the guaranteed lifetime income amount in the contract. But again, at 7% compounded over 10 years, if you look at using the rule of 72, you're basically doubling your investment amount that can be used towards guaranteed income. So if you put $100,000 in at a 7% compounded annual growth rate for 10 years, that $100,000 on the income benefit is going to grow to $200,000 or more because of the 10% bonus that you're also getting on top of that. So basically what I'm trying to allude to is that you're getting a guaranteed growth that can be used for income, even if the markets don't perform. So that's really the value of adding the income rider. In addition, it's guaranteed for life, and you can structure it single or joint life to cover you and your spouse. So there's a lot of benefits there that need to be considered. It's really a solid product because of not only that strong accumulation opportunity, but because the guaranteed income is super competitive with this offering in today's marketplace. So guaranteed income in retirement, you can begin the lifetime income after the first contract year or the date the younger covered life reaches age 50 minimum, whichever is later. Lifetime income is guaranteed to continue for the rest of your life. When you decide to begin taking lifetime income withdrawals, your lifetime income will be based on the High Point income benefit base multiplied by a lifetime payout percentage. The income benefit base is the greater of the minimum income benefit value or the highest daily accumulation value. For more information on how lifetime income is calculated and paid, please see page 13. So we're going to also be covering that high point option that is enabled once you elect to have the rider added. The high point option is very unique because in addition to this strong guarantee, your income actually has the ability or potential to grow above and beyond what the guaranteed amount is in the contract based on the performance of the index. So we'll be diving into that momentarily, so stay tuned. Okay, so now they're showing here a guaranteed future income growth for up to 10 years. They're going to show the chart that's going to show that guaranteed growth rate. So if you're looking for guaranteed growth potential of your future income and a source of lifetime income you can't outlive in retirement, then High Point 365 Select with Bonus may be a potential solution. Once your lifetime income withdrawals begin, they're guaranteed for life. The graph below shows how your future income may grow before beginning lifetime income. So here is a chart. I'm going to see if I can make it just a tad smaller so I can get it all on the same screen. So they're showing here at the bottom is your contract years. So it goes 1 through 10. And then they're showing the initial 10% bonus at the bottom in that light shade of blue. And then you're seeing the 7% compounded interest rate growing up, and it's showing it scale up on the graph. Your minimum income benefit value increases by a 10% bonus at contract issue. And then your minimum income benefit value grows daily at an annual 7% compounded interest rate. By year 10, your minimum income benefit value is guaranteed to be more than double the initial premium or the initial investment amount. Very strong income rider with strong guarantees here that should not be overlooked. So lifetime income can also be guaranteed for you and your spouse, which we mentioned through the joint option. As long as you adhere to the terms of the rider and contract, lifetime income payments are guaranteed to continue for both your life and the life of your spouse, regardless of who passes away first. If the joint option is elected, lifetime payout percentages are lower and based on the age of the younger spouse. Now, here's where we're going to talk about that unique high point feature, which gives us the ability to lock in our highest daily value for future income. The other lifetime income rider available, the nationwide High Point 365 Select Lifetime Income Rider, may be an option if you do not plan to start income for 5 years or more. It automatically locks in the high point income benefit base at every new high point your daily accumulation value reaches, helping to potentially increase future income. Similar to High Point 365 Select with Bonus, your high point income benefit base is the greater of the highest daily accumulation value or minimum income benefit value. So for a little less on the guaranteed part, because you're not getting the 10% bonus, if you go with the nationwide High Point 365 Select Lifetime Income Rider, then you're going to get this unique ability to lock in, which automatically occurs. You don't have to manually do this. You'll automatically lock in each new high point for future income growth. And it's all based on how the underlying indexes are performing within your contract. So here's the chart. It's showing us starting, and then you'll see the index performance in blue, or really what the daily accumulation value here is tracking as the index, but you'll see the blue is the daily accumulation value. And then that light blue line that's tracking the dark blue is the high point income benefit base. So once a high point occurs, okay, and it's daily, if at one point that daily value is higher than it ever has been in any time previous in the contract, it'll automatically lock in that high point and keep it there so that your income base, your income minimum income benefit value is now calculated using that high point of that index growth. So what this does is it gives you the potential to have an even higher income that once locked in is guaranteed. So when you elect to turn on the income payout, you're basing it on the high point, not the guarantee. So it has the ability to overperform or outperform the guarantees of the rider too, which is very attractive. With the nationwide High Point 365 Select Lifetime Income Rider, the minimum income benefit value offers guaranteed growth of 1% per year for the earlier of 10 years or until you begin lifetime withdrawals. Once you begin lifetime withdrawals, your income will be calculated using the high point income benefit base and a guaranteed lifetime payout percentage. For more information on how lifetime income is calculated and paid, please see page 13. So the guaranteed income increases each year you wait. So every year that you defer to turn on the income stream, you're benefiting from the guaranteed roll-up rates offered in the lifetime income rider portion of the contract. Your lifetime income will be calculated based on the lifetime payout percentage in the year you begin taking lifetime income withdrawals. High Point 365 Select features some of the highest payout percentages in the industry. The graph below shows how each year you wait to begin taking lifetime income payments. Your payout percentage is guaranteed to increase so long as you follow the terms of the contract and rider. So at the beginning of this review, I mentioned that the original New Heights product offered by Nationwide has been the #1 selling fixed indexed annuity with a lifetime income rider the last couple years. And the reason for that is not only because of the Nationwide brand and the strong A+ financial rating, but in addition, the New Heights product has always been very competitive with the in the highest guaranteed income story. They've always been up at the top when it comes to the highest guarantees for the income component. But in addition, they've been very competitive with the accumulation focus as well. So if you look at lifetime income riders on fixed indexed annuities, and if we go into, looking at the independent marketplace, typically the highest guaranteed income rider options, the highest guaranteed income for your investment, typically those products and those companies, they might be #1 or #2 in terms of the highest guaranteed income amount. But to provide that benefit and be competitive at the top, they're pulling from other areas of the contract or the product. So in this case, most of the time, they're going to pull from the growth components or the accumulation portion of the contract, so that on your contract value or account value, the growth opportunity there is not very attractive. And so over time, yes, you're going to get the highest guaranteed income amount, but you're also going to experience lower accumulation growth. So over time, you're going to see erosion of your initial principal over time, and eventually it may go down to close to zero. But keep in mind, you still always have that guaranteed income, even if the accumulation value is exhausted to zero. But what Nationwide is trying to accomplish with the New Heights Select is they're trying to be very competitive in both phases, the accumulation growth phase, as well as the lifetime income phase, with the design to be able to, not only provide that strong income that you're looking for, but to also allow you the greatest opportunity in the industry, or one of the greatest opportunities in the industry, to maintain that account value based on the accumulation opportunities from the index crediting strategies found within the product. So what that would look like is you're getting a strong income, but you're also getting growth that's coming in every year on the accumulation side. And so you're maintaining that value potentially, and it's going to last you a lot longer, giving you, another asset that has a little liquidity offered within it if you should need it for a rainy day. Now, keep in mind, when we're planning for annuities and we're looking at lifetime income, any withdrawals that we take from the accumulation value can impact the guaranteed income values as well. So we want to be cognizant of that. But overall, what I'm trying to allude to here is that this product gives us a better opportunity to maintain our accumulation value, so that we may be able to pass on more money to our legacy or loved ones and beneficiaries, as well as giving us access to that liquidity if we should need it. So I want to make sure that I point that out. So here's another chart showing the power of increasing lifetime payout percentages. So what we're looking at here is a 55-year-old, to the hypothetical scenario with the 55-year-old at contract issue, beginning lifetime income at age 68. So we'll see what it's showing is the green bars are the lifetime payout percentage, which is based on the age of the person at the time they elect to turn on the income. Each year that you get older, that the payout rate can increase. Now in this product, I believe it's a stepped payout rate, which increases every 5 years. Yeah, that looks to be the case on this. Actually, no, it's this one's going up annually, so it's an annual increase, which is very, very cool. So it says your guaranteed payout percentage increase every year. So the guaranteed payout percentage increases every year you wait to begin on lifetime income withdrawals. So you'll see year 6 at age 63, it's a 5.89% payout. And then the very next year, it goes up to 6.16%. And then age 65 goes up to 6.44%. Age 66, 6.86%. Age 67, 7.31%. And age 68, which is when the person would be turning it on in this scenario, is 7.79%. So the starting lifetime income at age 68 guarantees a 7.79% payout percentage every year for the rest of this person's life. Very impactful there. Now let's talk about the plan to leave a lasting legacy. In this product, they also offer some unique enhanced death benefit riders. So let's cover that real quick. It says if you have money set aside that you plan to leave for loved ones, there are 2 optional enhanced death benefit riders available for an additional charge that can help you continue to grow that legacy. Nationwide High Point Select Enhanced Death Benefit Rider offers an enhanced death benefit with the opportunity to increase in 2 ways. The first one is the benefit from the greater of the 2. The first one is guaranteed 4% compounded annual growth. Your minimum enhanced death benefit value will grow daily at a 4% compounded annual rate up to 200% of your purchase payment. And the second option is the highest daily growth value. Every new highest daily accumulation value is locked in to your High Point enhanced death benefit. There is a second enhanced death benefit option available that offers the same legacy growth opportunities described above with an additional bonus. Nationwide High Point Select Enhanced Death Benefit Rider with Purchase Payment Bonus offers a bonus that is immediately credited to your purchase payment and provides even greater legacy growth. Purchase payment bonus and rider charges vary by product. Please see the product profile and enhanced death benefit guide for more information. So Nationwide, I'm sure people, if you're watching this video, I'm sure you've heard of the company. They're very, very strong. They're a Fortune 500 company, and they work hard to help you protect what matters today and prepare you for what comes in tomorrow. In fact, they've been helping members protect what's important since 1925. They are ranked number 74 as of May 2020 in the Fortune 500, and they hold an A+ rated financial stability rating from AM Best, an A1 from Moody's, and an A+ from Standard & Poor's. These are the terms and conditions. Not going to go through that and cover many of that, but I will come into the liquidity portion of the product. So like most fixed indexed annuities, they do offer some liquidity within the first surrender period or contract period. In this particular product, at any time you may have access to your money subject to certain terms and conditions. After the first contract anniversary and through the end of the surrender charge period, you may withdraw up to 7% of your contract value each year as a free withdrawal without incurring a surrender charge, and receive full earnings to date on the amount withdrawn. After the surrender charge period, 10% of your contract value each year will receive full earnings to date if withdrawn. The amount of any required minimum distribution associated with your contract value will be treated as a free withdrawal. Surrender charge schedules vary by product, so we'll have to dive into each individual one to see those. And it says during the surrender charge period, withdrawals greater than the remaining free withdrawal amount during a given contract year will be subject to a surrender charge or market value adjustment or recoupment of invested bonus, if applicable, and will receive pro-rata earnings to date in select states. A market value adjustment may adjust the withdrawal amount payable up or down depending upon the interest rate conditions at the time of distribution as compared to interest conditions at the time your contract was issued. After the surrender charge period, withdrawals that are greater than the remaining free withdrawal amount will no longer be subject to surrender charges or market value adjustments, and it may also receive partial earnings to date. So when you're looking at the New Heights Select product, if you see the number 8, 9, 10, or 12 behind the word New Heights Select, That's indicative of the contract year or surrender period for the specific product. And each product individually will have its own surrender schedule and charge rate, as well as the different participation rates and things on the index crediting strategies found within each one. Again, rule of thumb, the longer term you commit to, the higher the participation rates will be on the underlying index strategies. So in theory, you'll have higher growth opportunity within the longer contract periods. On the optional riders, it says the New Heights Select offers 4 optional riders that feature enhanced guarantees for an additional cost. We'll be covering the cost here momentarily. Only one rider may be added to a contract, and the rider must be added at contract issue. So you can't add both the lifetime income and the enhanced death benefit rider. You have to have one or the other. You also can choose neither and just buy this product for its accumulation focus. Each rider includes that annual charge, which we'll be covering again in a moment to see how much those are, deducted from the contract value on a contract quarterly basis, and that applies for the life of the contract. Rider charges vary by product and rider type, and you must satisfy age requirements. Okay, so lifetime withdrawals, if you've elected to add one of the lifetime income riders, your maximum annual income payment is calculated by multiplying the high point income benefit base by the lifetime payout percentage. We'll take a look at that. I'm not going to read any more because it's redundant. We've already mentioned this earlier in the review, but we'll take a look at the lifetime income tool to see, just what a sample illustration would look like on $100,000 so that we can get an idea of how the component works with these lifetime income riders. Okay, so that's wraps up the brochure. So now we're going to dive into our handy dandy software where we will be taking a look at the individual growth components offered within the Nationwide New Heights Select. So bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. Hopefully everybody can still see my screen here. Let me double check. It looks like we can. Beautiful. Okay. So real quick, let me go ahead and filter out for the Nationwide New Heights Select. Hopefully I spelled everything correctly in there. Let's take a look. Bear with me. Okay, here we are. So what we're looking at now is we're shifting gears over to the accumulation focus offered inside of the New Heights Select product from Nationwide. And here we're on our growth analyzer tool, which is going to take us through a hypothetical back-tested performance review to see how these products would have performed over the last 10 and 15-year periods. I like to take people through this process because it really gives an idea of how these products can perform, given the way that the cards unfolded during the last 10 and 15 years with the markets. So I think it's important to note, now I do have to make the disclaimer that prior performance does not indicate future performance. Again, none of us have that crystal ball to really truly know what the markets are going to do moving forward. But I think that, we have to utilize the tools that we have available and the data that we have to make educated decisions. So why not have a baseline to see, how these performed in the past to give us some confidence on whether or not this product is the right one for us, should we consider it for growth or safe accumulation or not. So in regards to the Nationwide New Heights Select, you'll see the 12-year product is number 1. And now what this actual process is doing too is it's determining which index and which index crediting strategy performed the greatest over these periods of time. So they're listed in chronological order according to the highest average annualized credited interest rate for this 10-year column. So we'll see the 3-year SG Macro Compass balanced allocation with participation rate and spread, option A, is the number 1 back-tested index crediting strategy. And we'll see over in the 10-year column, 8.2%. Over that 10-year period from December 31st of 2010 to December 31st of 2020, This is showing us that it would have performed or produced an average annualized credited interest rate of 8.2%. Now, when we look just below that, we'll see a green number and a red number. The green number is what the software is doing, as well as it's looking back over the last 20 years, and it's identifying what period of time would have been the best performing 10-year period, and the red is the worst performing 10-year period over the last 20 years. So in this particular crediting strategy, again, 3-year SG macro compass balanced allocation on the 12-year product with 125% participation rate and a 1.5% spread. The best 10-year performance was from December 30th of 2008 to December 30th of 2018 at 9.47% average annualized credited interest. And again, on the red side, which is the worst 10-year period, was from December 30th of 2009 to December 30th of 2019 at 7.41%. So very important data numbers there, data sets. I think that's key to understand those time frames. It's coming right out of the global financial crisis in 2008. I think that's important to note. Now, what's interesting too, and I think this is an even more important indicator, is when we look at that 15-year column, we see 8.49%. Now, this number I think is more important to me in this particular test, because we're right before the global financial crisis of 2007 and 2008, and we're going through that period and then into 2020. So from 2005 to 2020, it still produced hypothetically an 8.49% return average annualized credited interest rate. So we're going through a very difficult time, with that the global financial crisis of 2007 and 2008. And I think that it's a really strong story to see how this thing would have performed through that level of adversity in the markets for that time frame. So very important. And I always reference, don't make the decision on a product, on a fixed indexed annuity, on the best case scenario and what we know for the back testing. Make it on the worst case scenario. Make the decision on what would have performed the worst with the data that we have. What's the least amount of performance we could anticipate potentially? And if we can sleep at night with that number, then maybe you should consider the product. If that number is too low for you, then maybe you shouldn't consider it. So again, we're looking at the chronologically ordered highest to lowest nationwide New Heights Select indexed annuities with the highest performing index strategies within them. So the next product on the list is the New Heights Select 9. You'll see that the difference between the two is not only the 9-year version is a shorter duration of contract, but everything else is the same regarding the 3-year point-to-point with the SG Macro Compass Balanced Allocation Index. The difference is that in the 9-year version, you're getting a lower participation rate than you can find in the 12. In the 12, it's 125%. In the 9-year, it's 110%. And that's why the numbers on this back test are lower, is because you have less participation in the performance of the index. So for those not familiar with what participation rate means or what spread rate means, let me explain. All participation rate means is of the underlying index's performance, the actual performance of the index. How much of that performance do you participate in? In this case, on the 12-year product, you would actually participate in 125% of the underlying performance of that index. So you're getting basically a multiplier of 125% by the actual performance of the index. Now, when it comes to spread is another name for a haircut, okay? All they do is let's give the example that if the performance for the index was 10% for the year, you multiply the participation rate of 125%, that would be a gross 12.5% interest credit. Then they subtract the spread rate. So they take 12.5% minus the 1.5% spread, and your net credit that goes to your contract value would be 11%. So 12.5 minus 1.5, you would have 11% contract value, contract or credited interest to your contract. Excuse me. Hope that makes sense, and I hope I'm doing the math. Whenever you're being tasked with doing math in front of a camera with no calculators, even though it may be as simple as addition or subtraction, sometimes your brain gets a little wonky and makes things a little more difficult. So I apologize if I got that wrong. I don't think I did, but if I did, I do apologize. All right, so then we'll see the third product coming in, Nationwide New Heights Select 10. We'll cover this one real quick because it is different. In the 10-year version and the 8-year version, the only difference is instead of a 3-year point-to-point, it's a 2-year point-to-point. Let me explain what that means as well if you're new to indexed annuities. Point-to-point is just the way of measuring the time frame or the period of time that they call your crediting period. And in this case, it's 2 years point-to-point. So when you buy this contract, you're going to get a letter that states the current index value of the underlying index, in this case, the SG Macro Compass. That's your starting point, okay, the day that the policy gets issued. Then after 2 years of time, on the anniversary date, they're going to look at the ending value of the underlying index. And if the ending value of the index is higher than the beginning value or starting point, then you've had positive growth. And then that's when they'll multiply the participation rate and then subtract the spread, and you get your credit. So the point-to-point, 2-year point-to-point, it's a 2-year period of time from starting point to ending point. They look at the values for each time frame and see if the ending point was higher than the starting point. Well, then it had positive growth, and then they multiply the participation rate minus the spread, and that's your negative number that gets credited to your contract. But we'll see here in the 10-year version, the 2-year SG Macro, same index, just a 2-year period. They also have a slightly lower participation rate on the 10-year version. So the participation rate at the time of this review is 100%, still have the same 1.5% spread. And we'll see the numbers come in slightly lower than the 9-year version, and a couple percentage points, or almost a couple percentage points lower than the Select 12. So very cool there. Okay, let's do the next thing. Let's go ahead and into our guaranteed income calculator, and let's specifically look at the Nationwide New Heights Select. And we're just going to use a male in the state of Florida, age 60 with $100,000. Now, if you're watching this review and you like what you've seen thus far and you're interested in finding out more, maybe you're interested in comparing this annuity to one you already own or one that you're thinking about buying, and you really want to see how it stacks up apples to apples, or maybe you just want a comparison report on all of the indexed annuities out there. If you'd like to work with me directly on that, you can go to annuityassociation.com. Right on the main page there, click the green button to request your free report, and you'll be taken to an opt-in form that'll ask if you'd like to be contacted by an advisor. Select yes, and I will give you a call in a timely fashion to schedule a good time that's convenient for you to go over the comparisons and see how I can help point you in the right direction. So would appreciate that opportunity. Okay, so let's go into this calculator and let's see kind of just a hypothetical scenario on how the lifetime income rider will stack up on this particular product. So let's see if I can get in here for the New Heights. Okay, got it. All right, so what we're doing here, again, 60-year-old male in the state of Florida, the premium's $100,000, and we're wanting to see how this would roll up using the guarantees and really what those numbers will look like. So let's see, I want to make sure we've got everything set up in here correctly. Okay. Okay. So we got 100,000. Let's hypothetically put in a scenario where the gentleman is electing to turn on income. Let's just say at age 67, which would be around his full retirement age. Well, we'll see how this is working here. We'll see that as we slide the deferral bar up and down, the values change, listing in highest chronological order. So we have a guarantee of $7,130 with a deferral of 7 years. And we'll see that the actual rider that's being added to this particular product is the New Heights Select 10 High Point 365. And the contract that they're showing us right now for the rider option is the second option, which is the highest of 1% or the daily accumulation value growth. The rider fees found in the Nationwide New Heights Select are 95 basis points, so just under 1%. And that is for all of the lifetime income riders. There's 2 of them available. And so they're 95 basis points. And then you have that guaranteed roll up for 10 years. And then we're seeing this particular rider has a waiting period of 5 years before income can be turned on. Now, the other rider offered in here does offer the ability to turn income anytime after the first year. But typically, most people buying this are going to be looking at deferring at least a few years to, to really take advantage of those roll-up rates. All right, let me go ahead and sort it one more time. Nationwide. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now the other riders are coming in. So let's say he wanted to defer it at 65. What this calculator is doing is figuring out which of the 2 rider options would give us the highest opportunity for that guaranteed income growth. We're seeing the $6,618 guaranteed. That's after deferring for 4 years and turning income on year 5, which would make this individual 64, still be 64. And then this particular rider showing that 7% guaranteed compounded roll-up rate, the 10% bonus. And then that fee on this particular rider, I misspoke just a moment ago. The other one's 95 basis points. This one is 1.1%. Okay. All right. So we've gotten a good look at the rider component for lifetime income, and we see how our calculator tool can help us determine what the incomes will be over different periods of time. And I think it's very helpful to bring more transparency and clarity to, how long we should elect to defer the income stream. So if you'd like to go through that, obviously you know how to contact us. We'd be more than happy to take you through that. Okay, and then the last step here is let's go ahead and see if we can run an example illustration just showing the growth or accumulation potential in this particular product. So we're going to look at the Nationwide New Heights 12, Select 12. And again, we're going to just use a 60-year-old male in the state of Florida. Now, we do service all 50 states. So if you're in a different state than where we're headquartered, that's perfectly fine. We work with clients all over the country, and we utilize a very secure virtual platform to be able to conduct our meetings and take you through this process from the comfort of your own home, which is very nice. Okay, so I'm going to go in and again, $100,000 example. And what's also neat about our software is we have the ability to identify which of those crediting strategies is going to give us the highest economic growth opportunity. So we're able to measure those when using that back testing performance and apply it to this illustration tool. And so in this case, we're obviously going to want to look at the highest hypothetical rate of return when looking back over the last 10 years. And that's going to be the 3-year SG Macro Compass balanced allocation with participation rate and spread. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And if we wanted to, we could add a rider on this. Let's do one without it first, and then we can show one with the rider. The other neat thing about fixed indexed annuities for accumulation is that you do have the ability to structure systematic withdrawals. So if you're looking to use this product as a way to supplement your retirement income, but you don't think that the guaranteed income rider is important for you in your unique situation, you can still build an indexed annuity for accumulation and take structured systematic withdrawal payments annually to supplement your income. So if we wanted to illustrate that, we could. For this particular case, we're not going to in this example. Okay, so here it comes. And again, we have all of the monies, all $100,000 allocated to the 3-year SG Macro Compass index strategy with the participation rate and spread. And then what it's going to do is it's going to come in and calculate the average annualized rate of return and illustrate that using the most recent 10-year calendar period. So you'll see on a 3-year crediting period, the interest is credited every 3 years in this particular strategy. So you'll see for the first 2 years in the fourth column from the left, the interest rate is 0 for the first 2, and then you'll see 39.31% coming in, which is a total interest credit on $100,000, $39,310. And then you see this large green column, which is the end of year accumulation value. At the end of that 3rd year, a total of $139,310 is now in the account balance. You'll also notice the death benefit column, which is the furthest to the right, will always match your investment and any locked in growth for that period of time. Now, one of the biggest negative connotations or negative perceptions of annuities is that, oh, if you pass away, the insurance company keeps your money. That is entirely false in this particular product. 100% of the accumulation value, even if you're during the surrender period, will go to your beneficiaries who are designated in the contract, and those values will not be penalized. They will not be feed. There will be no surrender charges. They will pass 100% to your designated heirs in the contract and avoid probate, which is key. So we'll see contract year 4 starting a new 3-year crediting period. So the first 2 years, year 4 and 5 are 0. And then 22.78% was credited the end of contract year 6, which equated to $31,735. And then you see the accumulation value growing to $171.45. Moving to the 10-year contract. Well, this one's a 12-year. So let's look at the value at the end of 12 years. We'll see that at the end of 12 years in this hypothetical scenario, using the most recent 10-year calendar period's performance, the $100,000 would have grown to $209,769. And at that point, you're out of the 10 or 12-year surrender in this product. And if you'd like at that point in time, you can withdraw it or roll it to a different annuity or a different IRA account. Or you can leave it in there and let it grow. Just the only difference is that now you're on a month-to-month contract and not an actual surrender period. So you could cancel at any time with no surrenders or penalties incurred whatsoever. All right, so let's go back real quick and we'll take a look at the putting the lifetime income rider now on this illustration so that we can see how that looks. We're going to go ahead and select the rider with the 10% bonus. And we're going to go ahead and structure it just for single life for easy purposes. And then we're going to determine when we want to take that lifetime withdrawal. So we're using a 60-year-old in this scenario. Let's go to age 60. Let's go to age 70 just to get the full 10-year period of roll-up. And then we're going to go ahead and see how it transpires to the illustration itself. Okay, so we got the same 3-year SG macro component index on there. And then we've got the guaranteed portion of the contract, which is going to show the guaranteed income starting contract year 11, which is $10,516 on the $100,000 investment. We'll see that we have 3 new columns that are orange in this illustration. And we'll see that the first contract year, after putting $100,000 in, our benefit base is credited with $110,000 because of that 10% bonus. You'll see every year the payout rate, which is the 4th column from the left, the second orange column, increases annually. So that is the new calculation to be used when you decide to turn on income. So you'll see that year 11, because the income's being turned on, the payout rate is 4.86%. And then the payout rate multiplied by the account benefit base is now, $10,516. You'll see the rider fee for the 1.1% being charged annually in this red column. And then you'll see the accumulation value, which is green. Now, this is the guaranteed part of this hypothetical illustration. This is not showing any index growth or hypothetical growth. This is just the pure income showing it turning on and then coming out of the account. Now, if we go to the next page, it's going to show us the most recent 10-year calendar period, showing us how the index strategy would have performed. And so now we're adding the accumulation and growth to the contract in this illustration or this chart, in addition to showing the income. So again, we've got our income benefit base growing to 110,000, and then starting contract year 11 after 10 years of deferral, the guaranteed income is $10,516. Still have the fee being charged annually at that 1.1%. And then you'll see that the interest coming in from that 10-year calendar performance is being illustrated throughout this contract as well. So you'll notice what's unique, okay? And this is really the value proposition that Nationwide and the Annexus Group who designed this annuity, this is what they were going for. They're trying to be the #1 fixed indexed annuity with the strongest guaranteed income and the strongest accumulation value opportunity. They're trying to give the most value to the customer. Again, when you look at guaranteed income annuities, typically the top couple options on the market are going to give very little growth opportunity on the accumulation side, and they leave a lot to be desired there. In this product, it gives us a very sound income, very competitive. They're not going to be the #1 highest income, but they're going to be in that top 5 range. But they're going to give us more accumulation growth opportunity to allow us to grow our initial premium investment over the life of the contract, potentially if indexes perform. And this is an example. So you'll see year 1, after the fee is applied, there's 98.9 in the account, and then it goes to 97.8. But then year 3, because of index growth occurring from that 3-year SG Macro Compass index strategy, 39.31% was credited to the account, which equates to $38,027. And now our accumulation value, which was initially $100,000, has grown to $134,763. Fast forward the same process, but fast forward to year 10, the accumulation value has now grown to $187,804. And then what's neat is you'll see the income. Once it turns on, the income starts coming out of the contract, okay, which also comes out of the accumulation value. So you'll see $10,516 coming out. But then look what happens year 13. That 3-year point-to-point and the credited interest was applied, which equated to $59,150. The fee was still charged, but now the accumulation value is $209,621. So based on this hypothetical illustration, in an environment that performed like the last 10 years, this accumulation value is not only increasing, but it's increasing by a decent amount, even with still having lifetime income guaranteed and coming out of the account as well. So in theory, what we're trying to accomplish and achieve with this particular product, and why it may be one to consider versus any of the others, is because you have the ability to maintain your principal investment even while taking income. And that's the unique value proposition. It's not guaranteed, but at least we know we have the opportunity within this product to do that. If we just go with the highest growth product on the market, typically they're going to offer very little growth opportunity. So what happens is over time, with the income coming out of the product in the contract, your principal and investment is going to erode and eventually deplete. And so you have a depleting asset that just becomes a cash flow asset at that time, where it's still going to guarantee that income payment, even if the account value goes to zero. But whereas in the nationwide product, because of it having such a strong growth focus and growth opportunity, that we can maintain and potentially grow above and beyond our initial accumulation value from the day, from day one, even after turning on income. And so that what the story is there is that you're able to potentially preserve your nest egg that's in this investment, in this product, and either preserve that asset for a legacy so that more money passes on to your children or grandchildren or charity, or you still have a asset that's not depreciating as quickly, so you have liquidity in your overall estate from this annuity. So it can play a bunch of different roles, but I think it's very attractive to look into because this is one of the few, okay? I know these products like the back of my hand. This is one of the few that offers this type of growth opportunity with a very high, strong, guaranteed income for life. So, okay, so that's going to really wrap up our review today. I hope that you've gotten some value from this. I hope that I was able to break this product down and explain the benefits and features and give you some insights on the rates and growth potential from the accumulation. And hopefully I was able to add some value on the lifetime income component as well, so that you ultimately can make an educated decision. If you'd like to work with me directly, you can visit our website by going to annuityassociation.com. Right there on the main screen, click the green button to request your free report. And there's a question on the opt-in form that asks if you'd like to be contacted. Just answer yes, and I will reach out to you in a timely fashion. We can definitely compare this annuity to other ones on the market to really help you make that educated decision that you're looking for. And I'd be very honored and grateful for that opportunity to work with you. So hope that you've gotten some value. If you like this video, please like it, share it with some friends and family. It helps this video get ranked on YouTube and Facebook's platform so that other people looking for this product can also benefit from the review as well. So appreciate that very much. Hope everybody has a great day. Take care of one another. This is Jeremiah Conjure with Annuity Association, signing off.